title.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
It's the dream.
So what's that? Thunder one? Robert Downey Jr.
Tropic.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Righto, assume we're up and live, thank you. Righto, so we will start at 6:31, we were pretty close. Thank you all, page 3. Meeting opening, apologies, leave of absence, so we've got a leave of absence requested by Chris and David, and we have an apology from Campbell. I'm assuming you've got that in there already? Yep, you do. So I think that would be a leave of absence for the other two, wouldn't it be, that they pre-put it in, or are they, I don't know the difference, but.
That's when they're applying for a leave of absence, and my understanding is it's just an apology.
Okay, right. All right, beautiful, thank you. We don't have to pass that, that's just information. 3, confirmation of council minutes, recommendation that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, 18th of June, 2025 be taken as read and confirmed. Luke, seconder.
There's a correction needed to though.
Well, we can do that after you.
Yep.
We're going to move it though.
Is it missing an eye?
Yeah, it's just,
Your copy's missing an eye.
Yeah.
no. Campbell moved that last week, we had a division on something. He moved it and it's put down and I moved it.
Okay.
Yeah, he called it division and it wasn't feasible for it to see.
Yeah.
That is correct, I do have a recollection.
Yeah, I know, Ron asked me if I wanted to make a division, but I still think that Campbell, he won't.
Okay, so with the exception of noting that change, seconder is Neville. And we don't have to ask anymore, we know. Anyone else want to speak? All in favour?
I wasn't there though, should I vote on it?
Yes, because you're here now.
Yes. And you read it. You should have read it.
Righto, thank you very much. So we go to page 20. So all I wanted to make mention on this one is that the promote the Snap 10 Solve application that's been put onto our app store. It is a really good thing to do, and I encourage both the public but all elected members to make sure you push everyone you know to go onto it and to use it. It is the way to absolutely move into this century and get things happening and get the quantity of reports coming in. So aside from that, I'm happy to say it's good that we've had a fair bit of rain around the place, and hopefully that continues to bring on a good season. 5, declaration of conflict of interest. Does anyone have any? No. Petitions, there are none. Deputations, there are none. Presentations, there are none. So we move on to 9, elected members' reports. Mayoral update. Probably the only one I want to give any extra speaking about is both Jason and I met with SA Ambulance representatives here in Lameroo and went through some stuff with them. But I think the more important bit is that Paul, got my surname now, Seeger, there you go, is continuing the work he's doing to create this forum for emergency services, but led by CFS to discuss, amongst other things, the issue with volunteerism, keeping the volunteers. We've got the inability for volunteers to be able to communicate upwards. And at the moment, he's talking about a forum with something like 150 to 200 participants and like-minded members of Parliament. That's got the blessing of the Minister and also the Chief of Service, and I think the Chief of Service in SAF as well. So I think that's a really positive outcome, and that is being hopefully coordinated to correspond with the LGA OGM, so that mayors and CEOs who are down in Adelaide for that can come a little bit early and attend the forum as well, which I think would be a really positive outcome. So I just wanted to add that on because that's kind of post that, but in the same vein. And I'd also like to mention in there attending Just a Farmer that was organised by Lameroo Forward and Gary Purdy in particular, which obviously was a free to community subsidised drought funding event, a very confronting and telling story of of a suicide by a young family man farmer, come up and presented by the person who made the film, promoted the film, or done on her property with her husband. And I think it was just good for the community, which was over 100 people there. And I think it was really well received. And I see by social media it's been well received in every community, because it's just eye-opening, and it's really about convincing community, and particularly the male members out there, to don't suffer in silence. You know, we tend to be brought up not to show our weaknesses and to keep things internalised. And this is a graphic illustration of a family left without a father with young kids because of that. He had demons to face and just didn't have the tools to do it. So I think worth mentioning that. So that's it. I'll put that to the side. That has to be moved, doesn't it? Yes. So recommendation the council receives the next content of this report. I move it. Trevor seconding it. Anyone want to ask any questions? All those in favour? Carried, thank you. Next page, elected members' reports. Does anyone have a report they wish to put forward? No, nothing's happened. Cool. Okay, we'll move on. Report from committees. There are none yet. There will be soon. Page 24, annual business plan and budget 25/6, consideration of feedback during the public consultation phase. Manager Corporate Services.
Thank you, Madam. This report's about the public consultation phase of council's annual business plan and budget, on fees and charges, and provides with an opportunity to review the feedback received. The feedback may be written form as described by the two submissions to the report, or verbally from the public meeting earlier tonight, as you heard. So you're not making any specific decisions regarding this report, but you may want to discuss the feedback in general before considering the next council report, which is all about the adoption. So the recommendation here is that council receives and notes the community feedback received in relation to its draft 25/26 annual business plan and budget, and
Thank you very much. So I think recommendation is that we can talk about it once it's on the table. So you read out the recommendation? Sorry, I was watching what Sharon was doing. I wasn't listening, sorry. So do I have a mover for that, please? Seconded by Neville. So does anyone wish to speak to that? Discussion, questions?
My only concern is, we've said we've got a 5% rate increase, but for the last 5 years, I've paid 10% increase in my rates. I know it's because of the valuation, but it becomes a bit much money after a while. And I mean, if I'm paying double, who's getting the discount? Where's the discount in the system? You know, is it towns or?
I don't know the answer to that. Certainly the last 2 years we've moved just under 10%. So if it was 10%, that's what was moved.
So in terms of talking about, like, we're raising the rate revenue that we collect by 5%, and then what happens individually to each property.
Yeah, the valuation, I realise that.
Yeah.
So, but it's a public face. We're only raising it by 5, and then people get their it's like 10. It's like, well, this isn't quite right. I know it's the system, but
Yeah, but I guess what I'm querying is, was last year 20% for you?
no, it was 12.
Okay, because we had last year was what, 9.8, I think, and the year before was pretty similar. So yours sounds like it was a couple of percent different,
Yeah.
and that would be if it was double. I think there's absolutely something to be asked about. Is there anything to be done?
Yeah, some did come down, I think, because the valuations didn't change. But yeah, so there's
slight
the
change.
dollar dropped, so they paid
Yeah.
less. But yeah, where properties have been sold, it all did go up.
There was a couple of people in town in properties, their rates went down, which is,
A lot of town, people in the towns.
I don't think I've met a farmer where the rates went down anyway.
Just remember we're in a forum now, so question asked. Anything else you want on that?
No,
It's really on my head. There's nothing else we can do.
No, I just think that the house values in the towns, they hardly went up, but I think they did pay less rates than what they did before, quite a few of them, so they probably gained from what the rural people lost.
And I'll say this from my point of view as a farmer, it would be nice to see, rates go up, but we can't do that anyway. Is what it is. just a system we work with.
Any other notes, fees and charges, anything like that? In that case, so I guess the three submissions that were made from my perspective, they're all ones for consideration in the budget part. This is consideration of feedback. So there were three, 2 pre and 1 today. The Mallees Swimming Club, my understanding is that with the discussions I'd had with Chris Mead, Councillor Mead, that there was some investigations being undertaken by them, I think, as to whether there's any locally manufactured options that weren't going to be as expensive. Wasn't about whether it should or shouldn't happen, but is that the only option to buy them in Queensland and transport them and so on? The submission of our footpaths, I think, as per the report from the administration, we'd considered footpaths previously, and we'd asked about bang for buck solutions for footpaths, and that will be considered in this next asset management plan review. And as with Darren Button's submission that came in via email, I think on Friday, no, whenever it was, that is about forward planning, not about this particular one. So there's really no actions to be taken on this. So all those in favour? Carried, thank you. So page 31. Annual business plan and budget adoption. Now we get into the crux of it.
Thank you, Simon. So the public feedback considered, this report deals with the adoption of the annual business plan and budget and the fees and charges. The report details the engagement and consultation of the budget through the various meetings and workshops, and elected members should be well versed in the contents of the budget. The adoption process involves 12 separate recommendations that we should consider individually. I guess I might just pause here and seek your guidance or direction if the chamber wishes to suspend meeting procedures for any other discussion, or whether you want to move through with those recommendations.
I'd like to suspend standing order just because there's a few little bits and pieces I'd like to tidy up before we actually go into moving it. So I'd seek to, with permission of the chamber, vote to suspend standing orders for 5 minutes just to discuss some things. All those in favour? Yeah. Neville said. Oh, sorry.
Don't need a moved and seconded, it's cheap beds.
Righto, thank you. So there's a couple of points that I wanted to just question. One was on page 80, which was in the cash statement, and I guess I was just querying, we had made a decision that affected what the capital expenditure was going to be, and that we were going to expend all of depreciation. But somehow the cash position has gone down by $104,000 from a 174 carryover from 24.5 projected, because that's not final, to a 70. So I'm curious as to why the 104 negative would be there.
I'll read it. So originally we had 533,000 in for loan repayments, which has been reduced to 283. So that's a $250,000 savings. In the workshop 6 budget that I presented to you, we had what's it called, cash at the end of the year. That figure was 492,000. So you add those two together, that gives you 742. As the money that was being added back in, if that makes sense. Not added back in because we already had that 492 in there, but that's how much free cash there is after reducing the loan repayment. And then on top of that, we then added $846,000 to the capital works program. So 742 minus 846 is 104.
So realistically, what that's saying is that we were ending up with an improved cash position beyond, because it already was projected to be an improved cash position, but that's not in, some of that was coming from other than depreciation. I don't know, you've lost me with all that, but it just seems, I guess from my perspective, it's not that, it wasn't we started out this saying we didn't want to improve cash or pay down loans without understanding that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
So we said, let's just put depreciation aside so that we can spend it on the assets that it's been depreciated for. and we took purely that amount, I understand what you've just said with that math, but ultimately now it's resulted in somehow that results in us losing our cash, we didn't want to add cash, but now it's actually taking cash away.
Yeah.
So we're putting depreciation, but somehow we're drawing cash out at the same time. And to me, I don't understand that. I understand how that math works, but I don't understand the system behind it. It seems to make no sense to me.
Yeah, so in a rough sort of guide, so the depreciation that's taken out operationally, what that goes to is your capital works plus your loan repayments, and then whatever's left over is your cash, is what happens. And in the changes we made, we went from, was it 2.6 to 3.7? So we've added $850,000 difference to what we already had in there.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess I'm back to being, I guess, frustrated and disappointed that we're back there again, that we're, you know, in all the gobbledygook of the math, we end up taking cash away because that wasn't what we were trying to do either. We just were told that this is the depreciation sum, and you can see that the cash on hand had gone up and the payment of debt had increased without us understanding that's what was happening. We said, well, let's stop that. I mean, if that was the case, I would rather have seen $746,000 go against capital expenditure and the cash stay the same.
Yeah.
Because if we'd known that, but I guess the frustration is we keep ending up where we don't know something until here we are, meeting time again, sitting here and going, well, that's not what I thought was going to happen. That wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
And I understand how you've arrived at that. I still don't understand the methodology of it because I never will. This is like square hole round peg.
It is cash in, cash out though. That's, and I mentioned that a few times though. So if we're adding in 840, it has to come out of somewhere, and we had a 492. So yeah.
I understand what you're saying. So is it too late to amend that, and would people want to amend that? Or would people want to leave it and sit where it is? I mean, it's only the cash position. It's like everything. It's just numbers on a page. It's not really money. They've got nothing really money.
But look, I just personally think our projections need to be a little bit more spot on instead of being a little bit.
With the depreciation.
Yeah, like we are throwing way out in the middle of nowhere with our predictions like that.
So anyway, that concerned me. I found that a bit problematic.
I agree with you.
And I guess it's just from a viewpoint of, I guess we're not trying to make things go backwards, and the whole motivation behind that, and I thought we were pretty clear, was, you know, we wanted to maintain the cash position that it should have been, because I think originally it was going to be 131 at the end of the year. It's ended up with an extra 43. Is a surprise, but good. So 174, and then the ambition wasn't for that to go down again. But I guess it's the smoke and mirrors of depreciation.
Is that? Can we adopt it with that? Because that's one change. The numbers are big, but it is one change on one line. Can we adopt it with a reduction in that?
Well, at the end of the day, we can underspend it as well. That's the $100,000. It's just we're back in, past the budget. It's not really what I wanted. Underspend, arrive at the same answer, and it's like, we've done the wheels and wheels roundabouts again. But I think for the sake of we're six workshops in, we're here to pass it.
It just feels like we've just beat our head against the wall for no reason. I'll say that.
Well,
that's just my view.
Yeah.
It might have been my mistake on mine too. I thought I was really clear on what happens with the increase in capital spending and what effect that'll have. Increased capital spending always comes out of cash or it goes to loans. So either if we're going to spend $10 million on capital expenditure next year, that's going to be done through loans. It only affects cash. I thought, but.
And I think that will always remain we're P&L people, you're this stuff, and that will always end up. Yeah. It's just, I guess we need in the future, and certainly next budget, we need the administration to understand how the chamber thinks, because we've got to, if that was made clear in that last workshop when we had our breakthrough moment to say, hey, this will do that if you do that, because certainly it wasn't clear in that meeting if we did exactly what we said we were going to do, put that 846 in there, your cash position at the end of the year is going to go down by 100 grand.
Yeah.
Now, if that was said by Vanessa, Tony, whoever, yourself at the time, probably would have said, oh, well, why don't we just put 746 in there and hold 100? I still think that's a silly thing to do, but
Yes,
we weren't trying to manipulate falsely our cash position up or down.
100%.
No, that's noted. And
So I'm happy to leave that.
the budget process is what we need to do.
And I think the other one's in Tony's update, so I'm happy with that. Any other questions anyone else wants to raise before we go back here?
No, my predictions just need to be a little bit more.
Yeah.
Within the ballpark figure, not within a kilometre.
And I think hearing what Jason is saying, I mean, again, it's back, they understand it, but they have to help us.
Yeah.
Understand.
I just think they got too much leeway
Yeah.
with things. We need to
But
Fine.
down.
fight them down
Yeah.
because we don't get that luxury in the real world.
Yeah, well,
So I can't remember how we come back out. Do we come back out with a vote or just out? Right, we'll move back out and go in. Do I have a mover for that? Luke, seconder?
No, we don't move.
Oh, we don't have a mover.
No,
Oh, no, this is 12 part, isn't it? Yeah. Right, so now we get back into Tony's.
So now it's back into me.
Yeah. Now Tony's got 12.
do you have to read all these out?
We're going to pass them one by
I
one.
don't know, what's the offer?
We'll do them one by one.
I mean, it's only our budget, it's only a little thing. We can take them as read if you guys don't want to read them out. Gee, willikers. Okay, so we take number one as read. I have a mover for number one. Luke, second, Neville. Page 31. Yep. You've gone way too far forward. Yeah. It's already moved to the end of the novel.
He's out.
I could feel him alongside me, just flicking pages, and I thought, where is he? 31.
31.
There you go. Righto, so, all those, any questions? All those in favour? Carried, thank you, or against, none, carried, thank you. Number two, authorising nomenclature not in there. Mover Luke, seconder. Trevor. All those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Number three, in accordance with. All those things.
I'll take
Luke,
the blame.
mover.
Yeah.
Seconder, Neville, all those in favour? Carried, or against, sorry, carried, keep forgetting that bit. Number four, in accordance with section 167, valuations, non-rateable, yeah,
We've got it anyway, so.
yeah, right, mover, Neville, seconder. Luke, all those in favour?
You just sit there, mate, you're right.
Carried. Number five, rating the dollars. Mover,
We've gone on to this side. just-
Neville, second, Luke.
Not like putting up at them.
All those in favour?
Could have changed it, I suppose. That was respect.
Against, carried, thank you. Number six, pursuant, why are we doing these 12 separate ones if
No, that's just in case you want to pull something out later on.
we don't do that anymore?
We've
been through it before.
Number six, pursuant to 158, mover, Luke, seconder, Trevor, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. Number seven, section 153, mover, Trevor, seconder, Luke,
Good, but sorry.
all those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Number eight, this is 69er section.
I'll leave them.
All those in favour? Mover, Neville, seconder, Luke, all those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Nine, pursuant to 155. Mover, Luke, seconder, Neville, all those in favour?
Hey, whatever.
I'm waiting for Luke's hand to come
No,
up.
answer. No.
Against, carried, thank you. 10, pursuant to 155-2. Mover, Neville, seconder, Trevor, all those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. 11, section 181. Mover, Neville, seconded, Trevor. All those in favour? Against, carried, thank you. 12, adopts the Southern Valley District Council fees and charges, mover. Blake, seconder,
Ron.
Grant,
Oh,
Neville, all those in favour? Hang on, we didn't have a hand up. All those in favour? Against, carried, thank you.
That was painful.
Not talking about them in there, just, is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Because I think what would have, because what would have been great is, what is Vanessa making the changes, and she was.
Oh, sorry, back that one.
Yeah, making the changes, and then we could have gone here, right,
Yeah.
as what it should have been, and
Yeah.
everyone would have been fine. Instead, we went, like Vanessa's like, yeah, oh, I've got 1,000 other boxes she had to do, come back, send it, and then we've done it like this, whereas if we could have
Oh, yeah,
been sort of like that.
I think for clarity, I don't believe anyone's trying to be deceitful, it's just that we're, yeah, I don't think it's for
Should have been
speed.
part of the workshop.
I just think it's,
And then the next, and yeah, I don't think we'll have this problem next year, but it's,
No, we
yeah,
won't.
you won't answer that.
I don't know.
Knows it, and that's right. Just,
but I think in answer to that, it's also safe to say, this is a foreign environment for people to come into from outside who aren't used to this gobbledygook local government corporate world. No, but it is. I've worked in corporate, it's not as hard as this.
No.
So the reality is that we come in as a bunch of nuffies trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time, and we need, like we said earlier today, we need good guidance.
Yeah.
And we've had inconsistent guidance because we've had a number of people. And when it gets to things like that, where we're trying to crack that nut, and we get to it, it does feel like we go, oh, we've missed it again. It's like, how did we not get that this time?
I do.
And it's as much on us.
I do like how you use that word inconsistent.
you can see that.
You could have just said no. Yeah.
Anyway, taken on board, thank you.
Yeah.
So we go to page 119. Reports, corporate services update, manager corporate services. Oh, I missed one, have I?
94.
In all of the talk, I've missed one. Sorry, I have two. Oh, no, we don't want to do rebates, we want all money. That's why I missed it, I didn't tag that one. 11.3 mandatory and discretionary rebates.
Mhm.
This is where government get to tell us they're not paying rates for the things they.
Churches.
And we say
Thanks,
no.
Mayor Valentine. So with the budget fees and charges just adopted, this next report deals with the adoption of mandatory and discretionary rebates. The report describes how mandatory rebates are determined according to the Act. And the attachment provides specific detail in terms of all the different amounts. So this year's list is one less due to a church being sold and converted to a house, which is explained through there. The discretionary rebate list is consistent with previous year's applications. And we've included in this year the Geranium Hub to sort of show you guys and finalise council's previous recommendation in regard to waiving rates on that property. So that sort of makes that all transparent there. So the recommendations are that council resolves to receive and note the contents of the report, 2, receive and note the rebate applications received, and 3, approve the mandatory and discretionary rebates for 25-26 as specified in attachments 1 and 2. Thank you.
Sorry, you remember one from budget. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Do I have a movement for that, please? Neville, second to Trevor. Does anyone want to speak to that?
Have a rebate for being a farmer.
All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Sorry, that little epiphany then when I thought about it was, I'd raised with you that it would have been nice to see in the budget lines for a liability for rates unpaid, a carried over liability and also an expected liability for this year. Just so that really the public get to understand that we're carrying, even though we've fully funded it in the years that it happens, we are actually carrying liability forward for unpaid rates, and that we expect to not receive 100% of our rate payment this year as well.
We'll make sure that's in the annual report definitely, and then we'll change what we
Yeah,
do forward to our spoken.
Yeah.
Also, people do use the system to their advantage to not pay rates as well.
Well, and that's if it's in, at least if it's in the reports and that, it's a known quantum.
Yeah.
Not individually, but total.
I just like to remind people that.
Now, unless someone corrects me, 119?
Yes, you're right, you're right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, moving on to this report provided overview of the corporate services team's activities for the last month. Just to highlight a few things. Obviously, in financial year, so a very busy time for corporate services staff. Balance and working things out. Look at our creditors closed today, but finish backdating so that we can get on with the rest of the stuff. You can note in there that we did get a brought forward payment from the Grants Commission. So that equated to $933,000. Shown in the report. We filled a vacancy for organisational development, which is great, but that's created another vacancy, and as we were talking about earlier, we've got some workforce planning activities that we're working through. COGS managers have just done a month, they're settling in well, and that's going good. They're meeting with staff and kids and working through things there. Last month, I think I gave you a verbal update on the COGS grant, just to give you an update that we do have the signed and executed deed of variation for the amount of $993,720. So that's all locked in, that grant money, which is fantastic. We've started to include a few extra figures for childcare, like you can see some enrolment figures there. And the longer the managers are in their positions, we're trying to get some more data and things that we can report back to you over time. And I guess just in the WHS space, just an update on actions that we're working on. I think last month we were tracking 68, and at the moment at about 84%, that's unconfirmed. That's we'll get boards and checked on that. For just a few notes. My recommendation is that. Thanks for sharing that report.
Have a mover for that. Neville, seconder. Luke, anyone want to speak to that?
Yeah, that report, the cost, that the 2 years, that's done amount.
2 years that's
Yeah. So there's no increase for next year, it's set already.
yeah. So I think it's small amount for next year and slightly bigger than next year.
Right.
It's not in indexation, not much.
Luke?
No,
Only question I've got is the 933, which is a prepayment of 50% of next year's grant, which was, or this year's grant now, was projected that might happen. But looking at this page, it shows that deposits at 36, LGFA 24-hour call 403,000, has loaned long-term loans. Obviously, we knew about, and I don't think they're changed. But short-term loans have all got zero balances. So I'm assuming that we've used some of that money to pay down short-term cash facilities. I guess just around transparency of where that money's gone, because obviously that's a prepayment of this year's money, so it shouldn't be needed for last year. It should all be sitting somewhere ready for this year, because otherwise we're going to be in the same predicament.
Yeah, so we paid off all the overdrafts and such, and then then we've got some money in the bank for the remainder.
So that 403 was the balance after paying off the short-term loans, which means that this year we're ready to tap those if we have to.
so instead of running in credit, we're always running in debt.
As opposed to putting the money in the bank, is that what you mean? So
Yeah, because now we're going to be paying fees, aren't we?
Well, I don't believe there's a fee on those short terms. I think that was asked last time. There's no fee on the short terms unless you've got a balance.
It's only if we're drawn in.
Yeah, but how many times have we not drawn down on them?
Not now.
Right now, but when, how long have they had money out on them for? Long time?
Well, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's still the cheaper option, long-term ones. So we.
Yeah, I just, be given that money, shouldn't that last? Do you know what I mean?
What you're saying is put that in a
Like-
bank account rather
Yeah,
than put it down.
but shouldn't it, just my head always sees it is, okay, we get the money for childcare, that should be sitting there in that account, and that should be running perfectly fine. We've got the money sitting there for it. We don't need to borrow any money for it. We don't need to do anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
But now we've paid off.
No, that's not childcare money. This is prepayment of half of our financial assistance grant, our FA grant. So I think it was made up of general purpose grant and identified local. Right. So it's not childcare. Right. This is the money we are supposed to get for the financial year. And last year they buggered up by prepaying, I think, just about the whole lot.
Right.
They deferred it 1 year, which was in the 23-4 and made that year look really bad.
Oh,
It had a huge loss. And then
For a day. Yeah.
it was said that there was likely that would happen again this year. Well, what they've done is done half of it. So they paid it on the 24th of June instead of on the 1st of July. So it's brought in some of this year's money into last year for no decent reason. It
Yes,
just stuck with that.
okay.
So, yeah, not
I'm
childcare.
still getting my head around
No, no.
of loans that we had, that I didn't even know that we had for the
Yeah.
last 2.5 years,
So
so.
what they've done is they've said, well, if we pay those short-term loans off, we won't have any operating costs on those at all. And until we redraw them, we won't have any costs on it. And the balance they've put into an interest-bearing account, but obviously that's not going to bear
Yeah,
that
but the
much.
thing is, what, we are gonna redraw on them because we will be using.
We'll have to, yeah, because that is the prepayment of that money. So if that money hadn't have come in when it last year, you wouldn't have had to carry it over.
So,
It would have, if it came in on the first, we would be in the exact same.
so those short-term loans, where did that money go? To,
What was it spent on?
yes,
That's what we asked last time. I think it was a myriad of, some of it went to those projects.
Yeah.
Some of it went to paying our portion of projects and it was
that actually
deemed.
went to it.
Yeah, and that's what Vanessa answered in that workshop 6 was that some of that money, it was deemed that the best financial use of the money interest wise was not to take out long-term loans for those projects and to use short-term loans. In our minds, it's like, well, it would have been for that 1% difference, you would have been better off doing a fixed term loan. So it went to what it was supposed to go to. And we wouldn't be constantly trying to wonder what money's going in and out.
Yeah,
Because
instead of
that,
this duck shuffling crap.
because it's our responsibility to pass budgets and do budget reviews. And when you're trying to do it on
Because
stuff.
this just makes it complicated where it doesn't really need to be.
That's right.
Like this could be an easier.
Well, this is,
I guess if you think of it, but I think the way to think of this now is they really are, the fact that there's multiples is problematic, but they're overdrafts. And so if you're in your business and you've got a big influx of money from sales, you would probably pay down your overdrafts, knowing that you're probably going to redraw again on them later on in the year. And that's really all they've done and said, well, we've got this cash early, so let's just pay down the overdraft. And when we got a tap on it, because we might not need to tap until 6 months down the track, who knows?
before.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I just don't agree with the all the short settlement where that money has
Yeah.
gone. That's my,
I think your grievance is with why it was there in the first place,
100%.
not what's being done with it now. Yeah, we're forced into this because we had it there originally.
Yeah,
But that's all relating back to cash flow again.
but also didn't know that some of them were there.
Yeah.
Well, that was part of my
Yeah.
But we'll continue to
Yeah.
rule on monthly, so when
Yeah.
we use it,
Yeah.
you'll see.
Yeah.
Like I said,
So yeah, that was my only thing, was just to make sure that, not just for us, but the ratepayers out there are paying their $100,000, $200,000 a year in rates want to see that we're managing it, and because that's what our policy says transparently, and that,
Yeah.
and it's just saying, if I made this reference to Jason, I would have preferred to have seen we received $933,000 ahead of schedule, June 24th, meant to be July 1, and we dispersed it the following. We did
Yeah.
plain as day. This is what we did. The same as we said previously, when those loans occurred, what actually went on to them.
Yeah.
So that you would have seen that'll happen in the future, but it didn't happen in the past.
Yeah. we can do that too. We won't do itemized.
No.
No,
But
yeah.
You know, the fact that you know, if we used a line $1.2 million for the Main Street project and went on a fixed term.
Yeah.
Cool. That me, anyone else? No, that was it. We've done it. So all those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Tony? Tony's going, thank God for that. I'm out. Someone else is in. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're just warming up, Charlotte. Oh, page 123, then you hire policy for review. We love policy.
This is gonna be.
Thank you, Graham. So the purpose of this report is just to seek council's consideration and endorsement for the minor updates to the venue hire policy. The version is in there with the track changes, so you can be able to see any changes that have been made. Obviously, this is a crucial policy for council-owned venues, so that we know how we're supporting our community's activities and cultural events, and how we're using our public spaces. So the recommendations are that council receives a notice of contents of the report, amends and retains the venue hire policy with the effective date of 1 July 2025. and authorises the executive officer to make any minor changes or formatting terminologies
Number.
or structure prior to the effective date. No, we've done that, but it's effective in there.
David Mover, Luke, seconder, Trevor. Anyone want to speak to that?
No.
Not a deep sigh. I've got a question. So come up with me that in reading the policy, policy applies to following council-owned venues, which is fine, but then it speaks of council provides financial support for community use of community-owned Geranium Bowling Club and Parakeet Hall. And I wasn't sure what support we give them and what mechanism we use to do that.
So essentially they can apply, this was introduced by the previous council into this policy. They basically wanted the ability for communities of those two boroughs, townships, whatever you want to call them, to be able to apply to council to get the fees waived for those venues to be hired at a reasonable rate. So in a similar way that we subsidise basically free hire or 50% hire at the halls that we own. So that's why it's in there, but it's up to you as to whether you think.
Oh, no, yeah, don't get me wrong, I was never aware of it. Obviously, you've got a whole suite of policies and I don't bother reading all the policies. That's where helicopter view.
Yep.
But so I was surprised to read that thing and well, how do we do?
Sorry, through to you, Mr. Mayor. We have never had an application under those,
Yeah.
articles of this policy.
The red step.
I think Geranium School used to apply the Parakeet Hall for their concert, and instead of it, they were paying Parakeet Hall just got it from the council. It was only a small amount, like less than $100, I think.
That was prior to this policy.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
That's what
That's what we put in with that. Yes.
Yeah, that's after the Geranium Hall got knocked down, so they had to go somewhere.
Whereas now we have an MOU with Geranium Community Inc. and pay them whatever it is, $4,000 or $5,000 a year. So you would think that would come out of that.
Yeah.
Which is what I was, okay. No, that was cool. I didn't understand, I hadn't seen it, didn't understand the mechanism or what it is that we do with it.
But essentially that is the mechanism, but we have never had an application under that policy.
Cool. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. Page 131, property and development services update.
Thank you, Mr. So essentially this is an overview of what my area has been doing for the last month. You'll see a couple of highlights. We've completed the carpets at the Lameroo Historical Society, still working on the roof in there, so there's still a little bit to do there, but we're tracing a new leak we've discovered, so it is what it is. So we're still working on that. We've done the plumbing works at 37 Railway Terrace because we had some issues there, and while I was at it, I got the air conditioner serviced while he was there doing other work, so I thought that was a good use of time and resources. The dishwasher installation in the Pinner Institute that commenced last month, and I will tell you now that it's been completed, so it's all in place now, so ready to roll. The caravan parks CWMS line has started as well, so we're working our way through that. And one of the other highlights that the CEO and I were involved in was a unsolicited proposal from the National Parks and Wildlife Project, or FNPW, basically around potentially developing a arboretum, for want of a better word, in the Pars Scrub Institute. So other than that, I will say that the recommendation is that council receives and notes the report. If you've got any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So do I have a mover for that? Luke, seconder, Neville. Does anyone want to speak to that? I naturally have a couple of questions. It's my note. This one was organising repairs to heaters at Lameroo Memorial Hall. I understand that's an operational thing and not our purview, but I'm curious as to know how major that may or may not be, being that we're pending structural, because this is always my issue, is spending money until we know what the big picture is.
They're bar heaters, so it's replacing existing, like basically.
Just electric bar heating.
Yeah, electric bar heaters, trying to get the best option that we can and basically plug and play so that when we do the repair, because I believe some of them are still hardwired, we can get a plug put in, so that we can just take them off the wall, plug them straight in, so we don't have to get electrician going forward.
And I had one.
But what about the Liquid Pacific Assets Consultants that their quotes are higher than we budgeted for? What's
Yep.
going on there?
We got the quote back yesterday. So it's still, it's around the original budget price of 100,000. I'd be recommending that we go with that, because if we can start taking any more buildings out, I think you're going to be starting missing too many buildings.
Yeah.
So at 100,000, I think you're going to get pretty much what you want. So
All right.
that is going to come under the original 125 if you count the initial project in it as well. So,
Oh, no, the dentist one.
but I'll bring that back to you in the next round, but I'm recommending we engage.
Sorry, I missed one if it's all right with you guys, I'll come back. You've got in that report about the dentist, does that come up later or is that in?
I think it's large,
It's in this one, yeah.
Yeah, page 133.
Yeah, so I just wanted to, for clarity, say that when we made the original decision, we made original decision to co-fund for 12 months for two visits.
Yep.
Was pretty clear, and they were pretty clear at the time that that was only needed because they were going to access federal funding or whatever, particularly for the school kids, which was the major thing. So I think it's pretty clear. I read in that kind of the future seems almost pending support from the council, and we were pretty, it wasn't something we were looking to ongoing funds. It was a once-off.
You have 6,000 this year budget on board for it,
There was only two visits that were funded,
but I believe you put 6,000 out for this year budget.
not knowingly we didn't.
So
That's in, yeah, I didn't know.
No, but that, I mean, that I remember explicitly because it was.
I thought we had a conversation and we got no more dental stuff.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
So put in there, it was 12,000 for 1 year, two visits, 6,000 a visit, and
Yeah.
that was, it was supposed to be either self-funding after that, or not. And they were pretty adamant that it would be with their grant funding allocations, because otherwise if you work it back, it's quite a, it's a heavy ask for the rest of the community to subsidise that rate.
Yeah, to subsidise 20 people going or 10 people going to the dentist.
So anyway, I just wanted to, obviously you've got to bring a report in due course, but I wanted to make that pretty clear. That's what the original decision was at the time. And it doesn't seem like, reading this, it doesn't seem like they expected they're going to get the funding that they went for. Matter of fact, it's gone down. So it's kind of like, they said it was going to be X and now it's turning out to be TNP, something or other, not sure what. There you go.
Just, I've had to throw Charlotte under the bus here, but you did have a question for me the other day about Lameroo Caravan Park EOI that you were going to that we were all
Yes.
sorted, but it.
Well, sorry, I didn't get that one on here. I represented it to Jason in one of our weekly meetings. Sure sits in here, but in our weekly meetings to say the expression of interest, and it says it's probably better to look in that report section actually, but in the report it's saying that basically it can't happen until we get the resolution of the land. But said, well, it was brought to the chamber through either a workshop or a report, I can't remember which, in I reckon pretty confident Lachlan's days, but I'm not 100% sure, that whilst that work needed to be undertaken, it wouldn't prevent us having an EOI, provided it was just for a lease, not for a sale. We said, well, we're not trying to sell it because the activity is happening anyway, has been happening ongoing for forever. So the commercial activity is already happening. It's just that we can't progress it. And the reason it's an issue now is they are very close, and they've been public about that. The lessees are very close to looking to sell the lease, like potentially putting it on the market this month. And selling something that they have a well expired lease on to operate the thing is sorry.
Never had.
Well, whatever it is, but I guess in Australia the law probably says we've been letting it go on, so they actually do have a lease because they got a lease by default. So I'm really worried that they're going to go to market and we're nowhere with it, when I'm pretty confident we were told in the chamber, actually I'm certain that we were told there was nothing to prevent us going to EOI and getting potentially a new lease on it where we get a better return for the public.
Yes,
So there is an issue to go to an EOI because we have structures and buildings on parkland that is dedicated parkland that we cannot go out with until we get that dedication removed.
But if that's the case, we shouldn't be operating the park. No, technically.
Yeah, technically
That's-
correct.
So it's like we're kind of half pregnant here.
Yeah.
We're operating the park, we've got no lease, there's financial benefit happening, guilty, Your Honour. But we can't tidy up our part of it
No,
because guilty, Your Honour.
essentially, yeah, we are working through the dedication process. We've got the Pinneroo Depot has come off the community lands register, so that's off. We are working pretty closely with Crown Lands to get this concluded, but it is a process. There's no way I can rush this process, and there's no way that I would be comfortable going out for an EOI on land that I cannot say can be leased because it has this dedication on it, and we have a sliver of our infrastructure sitting on that dedication.
so we have to shut the caravan park down.
Well,
It's the old thing, if you change something, you know,
yeah,
so this was all right back then, and then, but if you wanted to do an improvement, well, then you've got to go with all the.
I don't think it was all right back then, it's just we didn't know.
As an example, you know.
I've opened the can of
All
worms
right,
now.
can I ask you to do us a favour then, through the channels, can you send to me an email saying where it is we're dealing, what are all the details, because you know, we've got a local member championing the bid for any opportunity to champion our cause for a multitude of reasons. We do have access to ministers and Premier's Department, DPC, to try and help us move things along. And if we say it's about economic benefit and we want to get an expression of interest, our SA Tourism will jump on it like a rash to help us just speed that process up.
To be fair, the minister's office are working quite closely with us, and we are making progress on it. It's just a complicated.
But be aware, well, all I'm going to say is, again, reiterate, you're the operational guys, be aware the park lease is going up for sale potentially this month, and it will advertise that they manage the Lamaroo Caravan Park,
Well,
because they do, and they get revenue from it.
but they never had a lease, so.
And,
It
well,
doesn't matter, mate. We've let them do it.
we've been told those, so originally we were told they had an expired lease, now they don't have a lease at all.
They had an MOI,
And agreement,
yeah.
So, but the thing is,
But they never signed it.
Oh, okay.
in reality, due diligence, we now know all of the facts that are at hand.
Yeah.
It is going up for sale. It is going to be offered for sale with them managing the caravan park, which is our resource. If that resource is split across two things and not legally meant to be having an economic activity conducted on it, then there is no, it's going up for sale.
Well, we just need to say to them, just shut it down and we just run it ourselves.
Well, yeah.
Well, I think then,
Yeah,
then
well,
these guys need to come back to us with what they're going to do operationally, because I'm just highlighting that this is a highly problematic scenario. And if I can help in my role to say, please, Minister, can we get this like in a day instead of a month or 6?
Well, they're doing searches on the property at the moment, which include native pine and the holiday stuff, which take time. There's no way to speed the searches up, basically.
We'll give that just in case.
There is,
I think, yeah,
for them. They're their own department, but anyway, we've digressed from here.
We're open a can of worms, but I think it's worth.
No, well, it's,
You know.
I guess it's the changing, and you've been at these meetings, you would have heard the changing complexity. I certainly thought it was absolutely okay to do, because that's what we were told.
Well, at the time, that was my belief, too.
Yeah.
It wasn't until we got further into the weeds
Yeah.
that we discovered issues.
And I guess we're now, thought this is another one that's, 6 or 12 months, and I can get people to help us.
Yep.
At that end of town, and they can take something that does take months and maybe turn it into something that doesn't take months. That's all. Cool. In that case, I outreach this for both. All over vote. Against, carried, thank you.
And that's a you problem. That was part of your council.
Bring order, next, 38. Page 138, infrastructure services update, Director Infrastructure Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Mayor.
I get the letters.
Let's put it back in.
I get addressed by the Premier's Department as your worship, so there you go.
Your worship, it's been a while since I've been face to face with the council, so it's good. Recommendation today is to note the report, receive a note report. This is a quick update on what the infrastructure team's been up to. So there's a quick update on the Sealed Roads program. We've included the additional funds that we put through as per last meeting. So that's why there's two budget lines there. One is actual budgets versus allocated projects. Allocated projects is 405,000, which is similar to the previous report. We have received tender specification for Colquhoun, so that'll go out to the market very shortly. Then we'll head on with Target Well Road. Similar update to what we had previously. Colquhoun Road, I believe they are getting close to finishing that. The John Council, so
Kakuma Road.
Kakuma Road, sorry, yep. So the contractor has patrol graded Kakuma Road, our section of that. So once those works finish, we'll get in there and Target Well Road. Unford Road reshedding program. That summary is very similar to the last meeting. There is some money that needs to be adjusted out of maintenance to be put into capital. So going through capitalisation with financial consultant Vanessa. So maintenance and operational, curbside waste. We are now taking waste to Adelaide Hills Waste Recovery at Brinkley. So they've confirmed their rates per tonne, which will give us a better life of Cell 4. Tender documentation is currently underway for contracted or going for tender curbside collection. We are using LGA procurement to assist us with that procurement program for a number of reasons. One, they were heavily involved with the regional tendering that happened in the last couple of years, and they are fully across all the tender documentation for that. So that will be released hopefully towards the end of July or early August. Waste transfer station is still some minor works that need to be done there. City of Mess, there was a pump that we refurbished at Lameroo City of Mess Lagoons, the wet end of it. We also started next week to pump out some of the pump station sumps in Lameroo as a follow-up to resolving some of the pump issues. You will remember last time we talked about the pump station on Railway Terrace. We've got a new control panel in there, which we are just going through some teething problems with that. But it's showing us that having a better interface with our pumps, we can see how our system's working and hopefully extend the life of underground services. Cemeteries is going along normal passing gardens, normal town maintenance. We've done some minor works that helped out with some building projects, moving some furniture around, etc. They've also done some minor sewer road patching, and also investigated water leak down below the talks just here at Lameroo. Reckons Ward works. There's not a lot that's been happening there, just general maintenance. Signage, working through the township faded and bent over signs, working with Department of Transport in regards to what signs they own along the Mallee Highway, both at Lameroo and Pinaroo, to try and make sure they're doing their maintenance and not pushing on the council. The guys also done some work on traffic management training, so they're well versed on how to put signs up and take them back down again. In terms of the maintenance, road maintenance program, there's a quick update there in terms of budgets. That is work in progress 30 June budget. The stuff that hasn't come in there is plant recoveries and some other, I'll call them reshuffling of some salary and overheads. Obviously some of those will go to capital works, and also just tidy up other budget lines that have needed moved around. In terms of our patrol grading program, we're lucky enough, some of the farmers will say that in June we had about 35 mils of rain, so our patrol grading program has been very effective with a number of rain events, especially the dew and the cooler days. So in terms of scarifying blade works, which is where the scarify the top 20 to 40 millimetres, I have given a quick update on that to show what we've done over since the last meeting. So like we suggested, Trowbridge Road, we finish that off, Schiller Road, Railway Terrace, heading through to Prisabella, Paraky South, And Fifer, Fifer is currently underway and heading back across the highway to Draining North and Hammond. Some of these are prelim works to the resheeting program, forming up the basin before we bring that to relief. Also, the major summaries as an attachment. However, I'll also put in the patrol grading roads as well. So that's on date order. That way it's giving I guess the month's roads which we've graded. So you can see how we're progressing through there. The attachment still shows what roads we are performing in terms of our level of service. By if they need 4 grades of road, one grade per year. Vehicle permits are still coming through, so still bringing all those like we did talk about offline and previous meetings. So we're very pro getting freight through our district and around our district, trying to push them back onto our main collector roads by Department of Transport roads where we can. Some of our other projects we're working on behind the scenes is the Pinaroo Lions Path. There's you may recall last financial year we did the disabled access lifter in Pinaroo Thor. We've had some encouraging signs where we want to improve our disabled access into that pool. So therefore there's some upgrades to paramount, some curving, some footpath areas, and a disabled car park. The intent of this project is to be able to get people from the main street across into the pool and back again, and also those in disabled car parks as well, so bring up to standard. I've spoken to the Lions Club, they're generally in favour, but we'll extend more of a formal discussion with them. Spoken to the swimming pool, they're comfortable, we'll get some feedback from them as well. Also had a discussion with a ex-RSL member today, and I believe the Pinaroo RSL may have folded. There may be some opportunity to get some feedback from them, especially some no objections or those sort of comments in regards to the landscape and just that interface with the gateway, the heritage gateway or the older style gateway there. So the idea about this is to see the concept plan is to for council to, I guess, endorse the principle to continue. We can then continue the liaison with the local residents and the local businesses, etc., and the local clubs, and come back to council for a shovel ready, basically get the budget organised. We are exploring some opportunities for funding partnerships as well, potentially with the RSL, potentially with Lions, potentially with some other pool users as well. So there's some opportunity there. That's why it's not here's a project, go and fund it, but we'll come back and say here's how we can fund it. So we're just looking for municipal support for that. We talked offline in terms of the road rail safety interface agreement. So there is another draft agreement that we're looking to get signed from Arizona. Got that name up? Yeah, Horizon. Yep. So our previous agreement was with One Rail Australia. Now these guys have taken over. There is a little bit of hesitation from me from a technical perspective in terms of it is an active rail line, even though it's not being used. And therefore, by signing this agreement, which is an update to the current conditions anyway, theoretically we have to maintain all the signs around level crossings from the road user point of view. So the crossing that goes over, they deal with the actual live crossing. However, the road going across plus the advisory signs leading up to it, council's responsible. And there's some process to go through there for that.
Just say no. Turn it back.
Well, that means all the stop signs have to get.
It has been delayed a little bit, just so we can get some more advice. We have put a feeler out to the Department of Transport and say, because there's some trees down further in Taylor Bend area, is it a live line? And if not, do we need to maintain it to the standards as an active railway, or can it be a non-decommissioned rail line? So potentially leave rail the way it is, but then build over the road interface so you don't have to have the crossings, etc. So
yep.
So that's on that. There's also the attachments for the road maintenance. We're also liaising with Department of Transport in regards to school bus stops, and I've provided operational instruction there for the rationalisation of school bus signage. There's a request on the Mallee Highway to move or relocate some bus lines.
Spare sign down Parakeet South Road, school bus turning sign. Yep. You remove, use somewhere else.
I had mine stolen.
We'll all have an opportunity to ask questions.
So from that
Any
aspect,
process, thank you.
I think I've covered everything, so yeah, across the, so. Your Highness, just the mayor.
Do I have a mover, Esquire? Luke, seconder. Neville. Now we can ask questions.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Ben's been busy.
Well, someone has been, hasn't
Yeah,
it?
but someone else.
He hasn't been.
Quite well done.
Yes.
Is that a comment or you got a question? Good to have you back.
Yeah, no, that's about it.
That's about it. Neville?
Um,
You said no, and then you went in no, and now you're talking.
Yeah, nah.
yeah. He's been busy, he's done a good job on the road, he's down at the Sandwich Lake, that's done a good job on all those. Appreciate that, we have been, done a good spend. I've been asked about the airport road. Quite a few of these farmers have been using that road to get off the main road, and they just wondered if we can push the trees off the side of it, so they can get up there with the machinery, so. And someone suggested, yeah, you probably can't. Yeah, so no,
There's nothing
eh?
left. There'll be nothing left. That's only, from memory, it's only a 4 to 5 metre wide bladed track from the property heading back towards Trowbridge.
Okay,
The other section we didn't touch when we patrol road a while ago, so but you'd be lucky to get a wide line through there anyway.
yeah, right, I know, that's just a query, someone asking the trees get wet, pushed back a bit, I said, I don't think it's.
Alternative would be to
Off the record,
sand piles on it.
off the record, could they drive through the paddock? Instead of down the road, so
Yeah.
if they're going from one property to another.
Multiple ownerships.
So I problems.
So we draw that comment.
Yeah,
Thank you.
No, sir.
and yeah, I've got a question for later on, from Bullshit Road about that.
I'll leave it for later on. Is that a question for now or later on?
Later on,
Right, thank you. Any other questions?
I don't know.
Right, Luke?
Oh, I'd like to say that grading being down here has been absolutely fantastic. I think it's great. Yep. Up my way a bit different, but anyway. We've got a plan, so yeah, we spoke about that. And the work at the pool, I think, yeah, that's something that I brought up with Ben a long time ago. And yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to vote on it or not, but yeah, I'm one of the people.
We haven't declared a conflict.
I know that.
But maybe you should.
I'm one of the people that put him. So
Design concept.
Yeah.
yes,
So it's in principle design.
it is
concept.
in principle, so yeah. There won't be any cost.
So I have a couple, which are naturally. So yeah, I'm supportive of the DDA requirements, but I'm curious, is that part of a broader DDA program and audit system? Do we even have one? So I guess just to make sure that we're looking at ourselves as a district, i.e. our ramp out here is not DDA compliant, there you go. So I guess that's a question on notice about it. And I guess I would just comment on it. I absolutely agree with the operational side of it, like they should have access and that's a good thing to do. All the beautification and putting in plants and putting in watering and all that is just another example of we're actually creating more costs for ourselves ongoing to maintain that, to water it, to do all the stuff. And it's like, that's not going to make any difference to the access. Absolutely believe in DDA access, and we should have that, but I don't know that we have to have all the pretties that go with it. But that'll, again, this is concept, but this is what these sort of companies do. They turn a need into a desire. And I think the desire bit's what gets us into trouble. We're living a fair bit of that.
And just to respond to that one.
Yes.
That was probably part of my concept is to say, there's an opportunity to go from the township into that part. And by doing a very little pocket quick update where you've got some nice trees, etc., there's some pretty ordinary trees further down. Let's try and have a consolidated small area. There is some irrigation points just not far from there. So yeah, if that's a pinch hit on that whole reserve, that's just a beautification area rather than having landscaping everywhere. But yeah, I'll take comments from board. In terms of DDA, we do have a disability inclusion plan behind the scenes. Yes, we are aware of some non-complying access ramps. We'll call it along we'll call this Mallee Highway, but it's Railway Terrace, which we are liaising with Department of Transport. We talked to them back in June about some crossing points, because some of the parking bays are not you've got access points where you've got parking bays that are.
Yeah.
And plus the non-compliant ramps down the roundabout.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so in terms of, this is a discrete.
More just about a broader concept saying, you know.
Yep.
Again, so we're not accused of pinch hitting one here, one there, one somewhere else, and then people naturally go, oh, hang on, is that because? Well, yeah, it probably is, but
Yep.
ultimately, let's keep it be on the wrong side of it.
And the theory behind the pool was, if you've got a disabled access lift in the swimming pool, why do we not make sure that that disabled person that uses that facility can access from when they pull up in their vehicle or when they come from town? And let's finish that project off to say, let's have a shovel-ready project when funds available, saying that's what we'll do.
Yeah,
So,
there you go.
No, there's lots of shovel-ready things we could have, isn't there?
So we're gonna have a catapult. So since here, get out of the car.
we should do.
I'll take that.
Righto, and my other question was about the One Rail versus the Horizon thing. Most of it's yours, don't give a rat's about it, except for the element which is maintenance. So I guess in the old one, it said within the explosions zone maintained by rail infrastructure manager, this is page 198, and the standard to be agreed between the parties. The outside of the exclusion zone was absolutely to SMDC works managed to determine with reference to council service level standard. In the new agreement, which is on page 237, it's still within the interface, so that's within 1 metre of the outside track on both sides. It's the rail infrastructure manager and the standard agreed between the parties. Well, I don't know who's agreed to the standard here because these railway crossings are absolutely shitful and we get complaints all day long and killing our vehicles. So they're not doing their end because that's been in the contract since whenever it was signed, and it's crap. So certainly from my perspective, we shouldn't be signing this until they actually commit to doing are made to do their part right, because our constituents shouldn't be paying to fix whatever it was, 30, 20 railway crossings. Some of those are fine, the rubber ones are fine. It's the non-rubber ones, starting from probably Peak all the way through to Pinaroo, are shit. And they need to step up.
And that's one of the reasons why you've got a document in front of you.
Yeah.
To say that there's some missing elements from our point of view that we maintain, but also the interface. Theoretically, if it's a rail that's a live rail track or one that's actually being used, you have to have a rail track operator when you're working within 3 metres. And you're not allowed to touch within 1 metre. So a grader operator can sort of pull up, drive over it, but can't do that between.
I suppose our guys haven't done a rail course, have they?
No. I've done mine, but mine expired because we worked on Jet Road.
But I guess the reality here is, and I'm being a bit belligerent, but the ones that are causing the grief are sealed roads, they're main roads, they're township roads, they're Geranium North, or Geranium Road, which just has traffic flowing through it down to the feedlots all day, all night. At speed, I might add. We probably need to seriously think about the speed limit in Geranium. But this one here, I mean, yes, we've done some patching, which is fine, but bottom line is it's not our bloody responsibility. This contract clearly says, I doubt there's anywhere we agreed to that standard. If we did, we need our heads read.
We can't change it, it's the railways.
No, it doesn't say that. This contract says standard agreed between the parties, the existing contract.
And
so the standard is they say, hey, you cop this.
No, what I'm saying is the standard between 1 metre, outside railhead, 1 metre right across. That's a rail standard across South Australia Road. So anything within that 1 metre is up to the railways.
The working part is within 1 metre, isn't it?
I understand what you're saying, but that doesn't mean it can be potholed and bounced and cause everyone's vehicles injuries. We have a contract here that says standard agreed between the parties, which is the quality of the infrastructure. So their railway lines are fine, but we can't and shouldn't be bitumising from 1 metre out to 1 metre out. That's their responsibility.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what this says.
Correct.
Yes. So then we need to hold them to their responsibility. And I guess that's all I'm saying is that, we need to jump up, and I certainly will jump up as loud as I possibly can to say, this is not right. And it's causing, that is damaging people's vehicles. You get another harvest through there and all the trucks going through there. And I mean, it's just horrendous. And Geranium, when we were sitting there for the public meeting, the trucks were just rolling through all day, every day. And, I guess the bottom line is I'm just saying they're not upholding their part of the agreement. We got to grab ours and give them a squeeze and say, sorry, guys, your responsibility, and if not, then I need to pursue that, or we need to. Through both government, through One Horizon, and say not good enough, because that's too ambiguous. It's standard agreement between the parties. What is that standard?
Well, they
Yeah,
said,
I would have, I mean, if you drive across the ones on the other side of the border, that standard is they're infilled with concrete in between the tracks, like some kind of sleeper or something. And they are on the other sides as well, so that basically the whole rail interface for them is level concrete blocks. And our council interface to it is bitumen up to that.
Yeah.
yes,
Now, if they would be made to do that or agree that they would do that, we don't have a problem.
yes.
If it was a live line, that's generally what they would trend to. So it's an act, yeah.
Well, it's an active line.
Yes.
They can't have it both ways. They're keeping it open because they want to hedge their bets. Our community shouldn't have to ram across it all day everywhere. I'll leave it at that, but I just wanted to raise it because I think that is really poor on their part and we need to call them out. So, having said all that, all those in favour? Against? My conscience is, but Gary, thank you. That wasn't meant to be argumentative, it's just we need to, these guys shouldn't be able to just dictate all the terms.
No, we're right, where they are.
Stay there. Sounds like Neville's got a question for you.
So resolution, status report, page 247.
Yes,
That's me.
oh, yes, I'm sure you can. Right. Wonderful. Well,
Could be, we don't know.
resolution status report, we all know what it is. We have kicked some goals in there. I'm going to take it as read. So the recommendation is that council receive and note the contents of this report. Determine that the resolutions identified in attachment 1 as completed have been accomplished and no further status reports will be provided on both resolutions.
Do I have a mover? That's not, sounds good. Mover Neville, seconded Trevor. Do you want to speak to any of those?
She's
Pretty
pretty
It looks like I ordered.
When you said.
No,
no,
no, it's Kevin. Yeah. And more that I've added into our strategies to make sure they do get done.
We do follow the rules sometimes. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you.
Huh?
Jeez. Righto, chief exec, page 268.
Yeah. So. What
Take it
have I been up to for a month? You've already seen earlier today what I've been up to for a month, which was the financial sustainability strategy. But on top of that, I have really tried to find lots and lots of things to add in here. So you really think I'm doing lots and lots every day.
So you're not going to make us cry again,
No, I'm just telling you, just telling you that I'm
beefing it up.
really beefing it up here. Couple of important ones. The NTRO meeting was very interesting. Or Nitro. I really hope that comes off. That sounded, the geek in me really enjoyed that.
And the gigameter was just buzzing.
Yeah, the geek in me, plus the roads, plus what we're all trying to do here together. I really hope that comes off.
Ben's gigameter wasn't going off anywhere near as hard.
Really exciting. We've got Lameroo. Out of 96 or 95 towns that were nominated, Lameroo's in the top 10 for agricultural town of SA. So we've had a little bit of webinar and stuff with that. So I had a couple of conversations. And they went. They said to me, they said, look, we like councils and we do like them to be involved, but if you could let the community do this, that would be a lot better. So I've spoken to Nicole.
Stick the dog on it.
Lameroo forward. And she's got Holly, who's.
I think it's good. Pinterest already had it, so I think.
That's right. That's right. So that's a good useful story. I do want to also add, I went to the CEO forum for the MRLGA, which was very interesting, actually. I alluded to it earlier, but it was really interesting because the CEO forum had just been left, and nothing had happened, and they hadn't caught up. And then we all caught up again, and it was really open, honest discussions, and it was really quite positive about helping each other out and what we can do for each other. Also, straight up, they were talking about shared services. Straight up is what they want. So the mayor and I have spoken a fair bit about that. And I think if we can start with that as the MRLGA and then look at it statewide, I think there's some real, there's some
The only
real,
way to move forward.
I want to say synergies, but I don't want to sound like a tool. I guess I am a tool, so synergy, that energy is there, for us all. Operational updates, there's only one I want to mention there. I don't know if you saw our magnets on our cars, have you?
So magnets are signs, for anyone who doesn't know, they just call them magnets. So it's just signs.
Yeah, just.
They're magnetic
So we.
signs.
Yeah, you just get on the stick on the neck account. Yeah, I know.
Oh, they're magnetic.
When they're on a speed,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
So
so just got them so everyone knows where we are and, yeah.
only thing is, you're gonna put magnet signs on, you've got to pick a straight line to line them up against.
Yeah, so that's mine. So yes, the recommendation is to the council receive and note this report.
Do I have a mover, please? Luke, second to Trevor. Anyone want to speak to that? I would simply like to say that be careful, Loxton Waikerie, they just want to make money out of us.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Against?
Yeah.
Gary, thank you. Shared services, no.
This came from Coorong straight up.
Yeah. Oh, no, did I?
Oh,
No, that was a part of mine. I was supposed to talk about it.
I did, actually, no, I've got a question, that's fine. So questions on notice, we don't have any, page 272. Motions on notice, we don't have any. Questions without notice, we have one.
Got one, yeah. We'll get right, I'll send that.
One meeting, thanks.
Sorry. You want to go around the table, we can still.
You go, mate.
Oh, yeah. We'll get right on that, and Ben's report that's been removed, sent off that 3 times already this year, and I just wondered if we can make a thing where we charge them to removing the sand all the time, if it's got to keep happening all the time, so whether we can have that in the next council meeting, that we do charge the people for removing sand when it keeps happening, and they take no responsibility for it, so. Yeah, so whether we can move the motion that can happen, or how we go about it.
they're not responsible for their land.
I can provide an update in the next meeting.
Well, you can either do it as a question without notice, or you can do it as a motion without notice, whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Deal with the motion.
Well, notice with our motion, it's got to be 7 days.
Motions without notice.
Yeah.
Motion without notice.
You might, okay, we'll do that. I'll change
You're only
that.
doing it 35 years now.
I'll move it that week.
Well, hang on, we'll wait till we get to that point.
Okay.
So it's really not a question, do you want to move a motion?
We want to start charging people. for
Right, so any other,
Yeah, can I just,
come back to that?
where we had the pool racing ropes, we didn't vote to approve that, did we?
No. As I said, there was, Chris had said that, he'd spoken with Beck Putney and they were going locally to find out, you know, for instance, if, Taking can manufacture something locally at a lesser cost and then talk about that. And I think there was also some communication about whether they should be going to the hotel.
Yeah, that's what I think, like they're allowed.
So,
It's not to do with the general running of the pool that we.
so we haven't included that in anything. It's been received and noted, but not funded.
The freight was $1,000 to get it down there.
That was yours? Yes. Yours, Luke?
Yeah, no.
No, yeah, no?
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I'll build a question on notice. I should have done it in the report. And I just noticed in the in the report, there was 4 dog issues, for want of a better term, in the last period, dog complaints. And I was just interested to find out, because it's a topical issue and what's been happening in the past, what those 4 complaints were, by nature, not individual names, but
I'll jump into that while Shiloh's over there. That's the full year.
okay.
So that's from the original.
Oh, so there's been no new ones.
No, they're all,
This is for the month of.
it does say for the month of, I can guarantee you, I ran the report and I went from July 1, 2024 to July 10.
So in God we trust, or pay cash.
It doesn't mention, so it's not.
Says it for the month off.
Yeah, Thursday, Ken.
That's when you generated it.
It does say.
This said, I don't know.
Yeah, it does say that.
I did do some investigation into this afternoon. We haven't had a doctor complaint since March.
Okay.
Spend a fair bit on.
And I will add, we're doing a new report too. There's
No doubt.
There's not enough information on here. Darren and I have already spoken about.
Yeah, right, so.
Yes, I haven't had a dog issue since March.
And I guess at the next meeting, we'll get an update about the outstanding dog issues.
Yes, it's still outstanding.
Yeah. So, thank you. Yeah, sorry, that was my question, so answered, thank you. So in that case, we'll move to motions without notice. Kevin, can I look at me? Never.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to approve a motion that we charge. Sorry, then.
I don't know, the hand was coming
Yeah,
up.
crack on.
It's already been written up, has it?
Is that something on?
So Pfeiffer, the Director of Infrastructure Services, present a report to council at the August meeting with regards to a policy for the removal of sand drifting onto public roads.
I just
In
think.
regards to a policy.
Policy, just say an update on the regular sands
Well, I think what they're looking at,
and reimbursement.
Sorry,
because is there a policy at the moment?
no, actually,
But they used to charge for that after a while, once upon a time.
So do you want it to write as a policy or just introducing a charge recovery,
Introduce charge for, but.
a recovery charge?
Yeah, you
Time spent removing.
don't need a policy to, just introduce a charge.
It would be under the private works in your fees and charges.
Yeah. Especially if they don't.
So apply, yeah, they like apply the fees and charges.
Just make people responsible for their land.
Yeah,
So is that for a one-off or a repeat of?
It's a repeat offender.
just to repeat every.
Well, no, but you need to put that in there, it's one-off or it's repeat. And what's repeat? Is it annual or 5 times? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the problem, when you get to it, these guys need a set of rules to follow.
Yeah.
And so if it's multiple times same season, is it, because if it happens every season, like what's the determination, or is it just every time?
send them a bill every time you send the machine in. To do it.
Well, we've got to do something, it's all right. Certain things.
So the Director of Infrastructure present a report to council at the August meeting in regards to applying the private works fees and charges for the removal of sand drifting from private properties onto public roads.
Yep.
Because the report, well, the fees and charges are already there, aren't they?
Yeah, does it need to be?
They don't need a report, it's just applied, you're just asking for it to be applied, aren't
Yeah,
And it's reimbursement for the. Yeah, that's right.
sorry.
Hang on.
you know, as things.
So apply, so it's probably,
Fee and charges for reimbursement of costs incurred with the removal of sand.
oh man, it's fast.
Uh,
He was good at clearing up, buddy, cool.
It's all right. No.
Sand drifting.
So Director of Infrastructure applied the private works fees and charges for the reimbursement of costs incurred for the removal of sand drifting along Woodhead Road.
Well, along the roadway.
But you're talking about it in general or road?
In general, so it's along roadways.
Roadways.
Yep.
If it's
They've got to
discovered,
manage the land better.
if it's discovered to come from someone's property, then. Yeah. If they're not,
I guess that's a good point though, is it, you know, is it coming from their land or could it be coming from two over?
Theirs is coming from their land.
No, but I mean,
Yeah,
because again, this is in general.
yeah. Well, someone's got a plan on.
But it's always happening.
Well, it's happened 3 times already this year.
Yes,
We've documented 3 times, and it's probably happened more than that. And now it says to our guys, document it, so then we can start to get reimbursement.
So it's been documented 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit beyond the.
Since January, since
Yeah.
February, we had the first complaint.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's public, it hasn't come from us.
So it happens when you've got a pivot and you don't look after them. Anyway,
So,
my bad.
could that be Director of Infrastructure Service or just council? Is that up to you to apply that or is it just up to council to apply?
Council.
I just think that's putting it on a specific person.
No, but the council charge.
Yeah, it's really just for council to apply.
I don't think council can.
Council can't, has to be director.
No, I think council can, I said just the council wise director of infrastructure, I don't think that's.
No,
I think it was.
it's just council apply.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
Because within that, you've always got the rights in your positions to be able to waive that fee if there's extenuating circumstances. You can do that, you can always do that.
Yeah. Have a couple for it.
Okay,
Sounds good.
Good job.
all right, seconder?
Yep.
Vote. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. No more? That's it. Confidential items, there are none, meeting closed at 8 o'clock.
No, how about that?
Oh, hang on, we've got fingers going, haven't we? No, we got to turn off the streaming, don't swear yet.
It was under 2 hours.
I do think the cameras, I'd say, song or whatever.